Land, not only here in Kenya but around the world, is a highly controversial and emotive issue. And that explains why the world has always been at war with countries trying to gain more land. And that explains why US President Donald Trump wants a piece of Greenland. Well, here in Kenya, we know the history of land. And this morning on Biz Check, this is going to be our conversation. Land ownership as well as management here in Kenya, the do's and the don'ts, and the regulatory policies that we need to work on. My name is O'Brien Kimani, and you're watching Biz Check live from our national headquarters here at the Broadcasting House in Nairobi. Plus, on this show, you know we go heavy and we go deep. We shall be looking at the global geopolitics, the realignment going on, the camaraderie between Russia, North Korea, India, as well as Iran. What does it mean for the world? Plus, the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. What does it mean if it continues? And Trump's tariffs, what are they, or how are they impacting the global economy? We shall be having a team of experts who will be guiding us through this concept and, of course, through these negotiations. Plus, our reporters are on the ground. We shall be going to different counties just to get a glimpse of what's happening there, what is the news, and what are the policymakers saying in your county. I told you we are live from Broadcasting House. My X handle is @O'Brien Kimani, @KBC Channel 1. We just want to get in touch with you so that you can explain to us what we are doing in your life. Welcome to the show. I told you that we want to start off this conversation with the land question in Kenya. Since 1900s, when the colonialists came to Kenya, land has always been a key emotive issue, and that's why the colonialization happened here in Kenya. And today we just want to focus on this issue. And I'll be talking to Kogi Mwaura. He's the CEO of Finsco Africa. He's joining us this morning. They're doing a lot of developments in the land space. They have expanded into Tanzania. They're also looking at opening their operations in many countries around the world, including the United States. He'll be explaining to us the issues that are dogging this sector and what we need to do to streamline this sector. Thank you very much indeed, Kogi, for joining us this morning. First of all, give us an idea. How would you describe land in Kenya?
Thank you so much, Brian. I think I would say since we got our independence, land has been a very emotive issue because everyone wants to feel like we own. In fact, why our forefathers were fighting for our independence, one agenda was the land. So land has been a very critical in our development. And also, if you look at our economy, RAD contribute, or RAD agenda contribute about 14% of our GDP, or to call it the real estate. Called about 14% of our GDP. Currently, we have a GDP of about 110 billion US dollars, and a contribution of about 14%. We're not talking about anything less than 2 trillion Kenya money. So basically, we are saying we can't ignore the issue of the RAD. The other thing is that we are in the manufacturing sector, and that's where jobs are most created. Because you mention agriculture, you're talking about land. Yeah. You mention manufacturing, you're talking land. Why am I talking about land? Because you require a factory to do land, to do your business. So you need land. Okay. You, wherever you are, anywhere you are, even where you are seated on, you are seated on land. Land. When we got the independence, after all that, they have been having so many cases of RAD. The Dongo report was all talk about RAD. The injustices that we've always been talking, most of them has been always about RAD. The issues of the crashes that were happening in 2007, they were all related to the matters of concerning RAD. Yep. And even if you go all around to go to Mombasa today, the big issue that is happening today in the coast region is about squatters, people occupying people's land. So it has been a very serious issue. And if you go to our courts today, you realize that majority of the cases that our judges are handling today are all related to to RAD. Today, if you look at most of the families, the differences that most of the families are encountering today is all related to matters concerning RAD. The differences in the family, the inheritance issues, all those issues are all revolving around RAD. So RAD is an issue that requires special attention whenever someone is talking about RAD. Yeah.
When you look at, and we can even go back to history when the colonialists were drawing boundaries, and we have always talked about historical injustices on issues around land. We are in 2025. We are still haunted by what you call historical land injustices.
Yeah.
How can we address this? Or is it an issue that cannot be addressed by human beings?
I would like to say, in year 2010, we passed our constitution. And one of the agenda that was put there, out of the entire 18 chapters, one of the chapter that is there, chapter 5 of the constitution, is a whole chapter about land and environment. That means you can understand what you're talking about. If the constitution itself could take a whole chapter on RAD, so it's a whole issue. And it categorizes RAD into 3 categories. Number 1 is what you call public RAD. You do shamba ya serikali. Then there's what you call communal RAD, where people are together, they own RAD. Then there's what you call private RAD. Then all this RAD today is you have a right, is a protected property. RAD, if today you're having a piece of RAD somewhere, it's protected. If you read Article 65 of the Constitution, you are protected. RAD is a protected. You have a right to own RAD. So nobody can deprive you RAD.
And you can own land anywhere, any part of this country.
In fact, the same article says you can own RAD anywhere or with anybody, either yourself with others. In fact, it goes ahead and say, if you read Article 40 of the Constitution of Kenya, it says that you can own RAD and state cannot deprive you that land. In fact, it goes ahead and say, Parliament cannot enact a law to deprive you your RAD. So that means your RAD is protected. It goes ahead and say, just in case the Parliament, or just in case the state deprive you RAD, because state can deprive you RAD either for public purpose or public interest. It says that you must be compensated. In fact, Article 40, subsection 3b says you must be compensated.
If the government takes your land.
The government. In fact, if the government do what you call compulsory acquisition, because the government sometimes, if you realize that when planning was happening back after the war that happened in 1981, that's the time that the planning was happening, even for Nairobi, the planning when Nairobi was happening, and all other regions. Remember, we never used to have county government. We were having region of provinces, the 8 provinces. Then we were having about 42 districts. Then they were added some more 5 to make it 47. And those 47 now became the counties. So the way the boundaries were formed, today, people enjoy themselves based on their religion. Based on the region. Kitambo, you could hear a teacher has been moved here to Kisii. Another place, another place, another place. Today we find that people are evolving where they are born or something. If you go to any county today, if you look at even the leaders who are there in that county, you realize majority of them, if not all of them, they are from the same area. So let me go back to the issue of the RAD. What we should do as a country today, when we are having IEBC, one of the issues that was happening, independent election and the boundaries. The issue of the boundaries was somehow rested somehow with the IEBC. So the issue of the boundaries, limitation and the limitation of the boundaries, it was all touching on the matters RAD. And it is very emotive issue. You try to touch a certain boundary in a certain region, you hear a certain uproar coming. So we should first of all try to consider, number 1, we have a whole chapter that talks about the devolution. Chapter 15, chapter 12. When you're talking about all those issues, the devolved government, and talk about independent institution, what's supposed to happen, because today we have a National RAD Commission, It's an independent institution, all those kind of things. Since we are having all those things revolving around, again, but we are having RAD as a devolved function. But today, RAD, being a devolved function, it has been left as a prerogative of the county government. They're the one who have been left to do what you call planning. But that does not mean the Ministry of RAD does not have a role. But today, we are having a challenge. Another challenge that we must have a national conversation to discuss this matter, and that is the issue of the planning issue. Because the governors have been left to deal with matters concerning planning, but they have politicized. Most of them, or majority of them, have politicized. Let me say not majority or whatever, let me say some of them have politicized the issue of RAD and planning. And I told you 14% of our GDP is controlled, it's revolving
the real estate industry.
Real estate industry.
Contributes about 14% of
Kenya's
yes, GDP.
But now when you are having a county government led by the governor, and the governor is the one now being left to do the planning, so they are the one who dictate whether you get approval or not to develop your RAD or to do your factory, then the national government is expecting money in the treasury to give to the same governor, because the money they collect, for instance, I can give you a very good example. The state where my offices are, we are in Kiambu, for instance. Kiambu has a budget of about 21 billion shilling. You can
Kiambu
check.
County Government.
Yeah, Kiambu County Government. They prepared a budget of about 21 billion shillings.
21.3.
Yes. And if you realize that the money they collected in a few, like maybe last year, 2024, 2025, it's about 4 billion. They're about 5 billion, thereabout. But you see, the other money they're expecting to receive from the national government, from the treasury.
Out of the 21
Out of 21
billion,
if they collect 5 or 6, the balance, which is about 15 billion, they're expecting to collect from the national government.
Exchequer.
Now, this national government, where do they get their money from? That's a big question. Today we're talking about RAD, and I told you our GDP or our money, our resources as a country, or our revenue as a country, 14% come from real estate. That means out of the budget that was prepared of about 4 trillion, in the budget that we just passed, 14% will be coming from real estate.
And the real estate industry in Kenya is controlled by about 5 or 6 counties. And you're talking about Nairobi, Kiambu, Kajiado, Machakos, Nakuru, to some extent Mombasa, as well as Eldoret. So those are about. So these are the counties that are going to account for the significant portion of this.
Yeah, and this is in context of especially the taxes or the levies and the fees that are collected. Because why I say those are cities. Those are, okay, these are major towns and cities. Talk about Eldoret, talk about Nakuru, talk about Kiambu, talk about Nairobi, Machakos, on the basis that in any county that is within the metropolis, I mean Nairobi, there should be even a conversation between the governor for Nairobi, Murang'a, Kiambu, Kajiado, and Machakos. They discuss about the sewer system. Okay? Today, because all our sewer go to huko chini, kunaitwa huko Ruai. They discuss about the sewer system.
And Ruai is in Nairobi County.
Yes. We try to interconnect all that, because the cost of doing the sewer is also very expensive. So there should be a conversation concerning that. The other thing they should also discuss is about planning. That is why we are introducing the issue of a Nairobi metropolis. We should have an issue of how will you plan this place? And I can give you a very good example. Majority of the people who work in Nairobi, they don't sleep in Nairobi. They're in Kiambu, they're in Machakos, they're in Kajiado, or elsewhere. So we should have a conversation on how do we plan our roads. And I give you a very good example of Thika Road. If you look at Thika Road today, if you look where maybe like where Roysambu is, you know that route. There's a Roysambu. There are people who are on this side of Kasarani, and other people who are on this side of what you call Zimmerman. There is no road that connects to where they are from all the way from Ruisambu, you have to go all the way to Githurai 45. There's no way you can get it to this side. Do you have any road that is connecting them? None.
The Mwiki Road?
No, that's why you have to go. I'm telling you, how can you talk about Mwiki and you are at the middle of between Githurai 45 and Ruisambu?
Mm-hmm.
We can't have kilometers and kilometers and it is within town and you can't get in. And you can't get in. Let me give you another good example. Get out of Githurai 45 now. You want to go all the way to Kawendani, Kawasukari. Mm-hmm. You have to go to a very small bridge whereby without a police officer there, traffic police officer, getting to that place is a problem. I'm talking about planning. I'm talking about planning. So we should have ways. It is not even a very big infrastructure. Yeah. Just ways of getting in. Just way of getting in. We can even do what you call street rights. Where a vehicle comes, stop, they create a way, vehicle will come and divert and get into the estate while others are waiting. Instead of putting a lot of infrastructure, at a time like this one, the economy is struggling because of some few issues. I heard you talking about the global issues that are happening. The global economy is happening because of the war in Russia and Ukraine, mm-hmm. the war in the Middle East, the war, all those kind of things that we are seeing. They are affecting our country. Why? Because Kenya, we are net importer. We import more than we export. Per every 3 shillings or per every 3 shillings we bring from outside, we take 1. That means our balance of trade is skewed downwards. So why are you saying? Another example, number 3, is if you look where the bypass is, the bypass that connects all the way to go to JKIA, go to Ruaka, go to Thika, Nairobi, that bypass, normally called the Eastern Bypass. When you are stopping there, if you want to go to this side, of the right side, right-hand side, a place like what you call Zetek University. Mm-hmm. There's a Zetek University that's on this side. All the people that are living there in hundreds of thousands, you have to enter Ruiru town. Have you ever considered that? You have to enter Ruiru town.
You have to go through Ruiru town.
You have to go through Ruiru town. Now the traffic that is created there is all problems. Getting now to a place like Kimbo, near where our offices are, and you want to go to this other side, the bridge that is there that connects Kimbo, all those routes, and people are living there in hundreds of thousands. The bridge that was connected there is like a corridor. It's a small corridor. However, without, again, and there's a university that is there called NIBS and such. Mm. Again, the biggest problem now happened from there, and no one want to go to Juja. The people of Juja are in crisis because there is no road that connect in either side. You have to follow and follow and follow. People of Waitavia, they don't have a way of getting in.
And all things.
People always say Thika Road, but they don't see some of the challenges that people go through.
And all these challenges can be.
But there is no road.
And all these challenges can be attributed to lack of planning.
Lack of planning.
And it's quite unfortunate that when you look at, for example, Nairobi,
yeah,
the land use plan that we are currently using, or the physical land plan, it was developed in 1984.
Yes.
And we are talking about more than 40 years ago. The other counties do not have any land use plan in place. They don't have any physical land use plans. Some of them are trying to develop them. But the population growth is so huge, so big, that it is not waiting for those plans to be developed. And so what do we need to do? Because the population is growing, there will be demand for more housing, there will be demand for more food, and that balance must be maintained.
I want, first of all, you just mentioned about the issue of housing. Currently, we have a 2 million housing deficit in Kenya. The deficit that is existing today is about 2 million housing. Because not everybody who wants to live in a rented house. I always say, if you can rent a house, you can own it. That means, if we have 2 million housing deficit, and each and every year we are creating a demand of about 250,000 houses, but we are only able to construct about 50,000. So we create another deficit of about 200,000 homes every year. So if we give ourselves the next 5 years, we are talking about another 1 million. If you add to the 3 million, you can see the kind of crisis that we are creating. That's why I support the issue of the government on affordable housing. Mm-hmm. Because I can tell you, we are reducing that gap. Though it is not moving as it was expected, we are reducing that gap. But what I expect the government to do is support us in the private sector. And the national government should not leave this issue of us in the private sector, especially in the real estate sector, to be managed or to be harassed by the county government. Because some of the county government still do not understand how the economies are driven. They already, because they wamegojea kuletewa. I'm giving an example of Kiambu County government. They're expecting 15 billion, but then they can only contribute 5.
And so that is the conversation we need to have.
Yes.
Because when the architects of our constitution, sat down and looked at counties were supposed to be engines of growth.
That is it.
And when you look at, you talked about the 47 districts that were there before. When you look at what the county councils, the municipal councils used to collect, vis-a-vis what counties are collecting, there is a significant drop. And nobody has ever sat back to ask, what is happening? Because counties are relying largely on exchequer, on national exchequer funding. And so, how do we turn counties into engines of socio-economic development in Kenya?
Number one, we have to embrace ICT.
ICT.
We have to embrace technology. There's no way we can become at the age of this, we are talking about 21st century, that we are having a county government that is running on a manual, on approvals. I need to see when I apply today, what is the status of my approval? But there are some county government are still running manual systems. That's number one. Number two, we should reduce our county government. And I'm saying that one with a lot of certainty. We cannot run 47 county governments. If we can embrace technology, that we run system, kitambo tulikuwa tunapanga line pale KRA. We used to queue at KRA because of driving licenses. Today you go to the cyber and you get your driving license. Again, we used
You can actually download it from your phone.
You download it from your phone. We used to queue at the registrar of companies here at Attorney General's office. Today there are no queues there. In fact, those people, there's no queue there. Why? Because everything was digitized. If you want to register your company, you digitize. You download everything, you put everything, you insert everything, and you know even the status of your company. And you can even open from the portal, from eCitizen, and understand. All those things. If today you want to have after you go and sign for your good conduct, you can get it online. You don't need to go back to the CID to get your... Why is it so difficult to digitize the issue of the title deed in Kenya?
The government has been trying this for the last 15 years.
But now, there must be a deliberate effort.
Who is going to drive that effort?
I want to urge our members of parliament, because I know they have goodwill. Our members of parliament, they can push that agenda, that we push for digitization of that. Juzi nimeona wakisema we digitize e-procurement. Naona watu wengine wana resist. It is not a bad idea. So you need to know what is happening. But we must also have security, a proper security of our systems, such that you don't have a situation whereby the country can be held hostage. That it's an individual who is holding the the government ransom. Because I had one county government, I don't want to mention them. The reason why the approvals were not happening, because we took almost like 80 months without getting approvals. Then we were told that the reason why we are not getting approval is because the supplier of the system was not paid by the county. So he stopped everything. So in the county government could not do anything. It came about an unpaid bill. It happened. So those are some of the issues that we should ensure that by the time the government is engaging a private developer of a system, there must be some level of certainty that it is not a game of trying an error. The other thing which I can also say, especially concerning planning, if county government is the one that is left to do planning, they must follow the law. They cannot create their own law against the existing law, what you call like a supreme law, like constitution. I give example, and I want to give a really good example. And one day I want you to call the CEC for Kiambu. Ukuje umuite hapa. Umwambie akupatie the law they are using today. You compare with what you call the Planning Act 2019, and you compare with the Constitution. Then you see where we are headed. Why am I saying that? I'm not here to vent or whatever, but I'm saying, you realize that you go and present your case in a place like Kiambu County government. Once you present your case, like for one, we presented one case like this. Few days down the line, you hear there is another law that has been prepared. You present yours to
by the county assembly.
The county assembly prepare another law. It is passed, and now you are told, and you remember you've already started your project. You are told you must follow that law that have been prepared. The law does not apply retrogressively. The law is progressive. You cannot find me in between. I'm already inside. Then you tell me, now you're going to use this law. Remember, by the time you're going to develop the county, you had already seen the law, you've already done the feasibility study, you've done everything, and you know the need of the county. County cannot come back again and tell you that you change this law. You use the law they are having today. So today, as a country, some of the challenges we are having economically, or economic challenges we are having as a country today, they are all not brought by the national government. Sometimes people complain, national government, like for instance, approvals of the county.
It is not the role of the national government.
Yes, because...
but of course it is hurting the national economy.
It's hurting the national government. In fact, the treasury, I can even request someone like John Buddy, before you release the money to some of this county government, try to check some of the issues that are happening at the county level.
I want to hear this from you, Koigi. I mean, you are in the real estate industry, and definitely you understand the ins, I mean, the happenings that goes in there. We all know and we understand that there is a problem, you know, at the county levels. And when you look at land rates from counties, when you look at approvals, you know, from counties, they form a significant portion of their revenue. And yet, this is where you have the most corruption, and this is according to ESCC report for the year 2024. And counties are aware of this.
Yeah.
Are they doing anything?
Counties?
Yeah.
What are they doing
to deal with this?
They are making it to become a political agenda, a tool to frustrate investors. And I don't sometimes understand governors, how sometimes they look at things. Because you know, one house employ like about 20 people by the time that house is finished. You can imagine a project with about 1,000 homes. You are expecting about 20,000 jobs there. Our young people who are having challenges here of getting jobs, we are having youth who are growing every day and they need jobs. These are our young people who are engineers, they are finishing universities, they are finishing colleges, they are going to TVET, they have all experience, they have all academic qualification, but they don't have experience. So we are the one to employ them, not the government. Government cannot employ all of them. So it is us in the private sector to employ them.
The private sector is supposed to be the biggest employer in any country.
Yes, not the national government should not employ anything more than 25%. How? We should be the one employing the majority. But yet now, you feel people are struggling. Why? Because where they're supposed to get their jobs from is already sabotaged. Pure economic sabotage. Because when you go and get a project of like about 500 acres, you come and say, no, this one can only become agriculture. That governor is forgetting one thing. Article 40 says you cannot limit anybody what they are going to do on their land. You can't. And you follow the constitution. Limit, you can't limit. So, when they realize that maybe they are doing things that are not clear, they are not correct, again, they prepare another law that say you can only subdivide quarter acres. Does the governor know how much money is in the people's pocket to say whether it's a quarter or an eighth or a half acres? Because you have to understand what the people want. The only thing we should understand is if a certain region, if it's a single dwelling, a minimum is 50 by 100, don't come and tell me to create half. Who is to buy half? Then you guys as a governor come and buy the entire land. I'll be very, very happy. I'll be very happy. But not to have a situation whereby you are refusing affordable housing to happen. You are refusing private sector to develop, and not one company, not two, not three. You find governors are doing it. Me, I'm saying like this. I'll urge our president His Excellency President William Samoei Ruto. Since he know the pain, because he is at the steering, anajua gari haina mafuta, anagalia gari miguu zinakaa namna gani, anaangalia wapi. Since he know where the problems are happening, he should not sometimes sympathize with some of these people. And the best thing to do, because some things are political, he avoid the politics of that and he focus on creating a solution for us. And because I know he can do it. Last regime, what they did, when there was a challenge in Nairobi, they removed planning, they removed transport, and they removed health from Nairobi County government, and it was given to Nairobi Metropolis Service. NMS. And a lot of things changed. People got jobs, vijana walipata kazi, and at least things were happening. Na ile noise ilikuwa mingi ilisha. Today, for Kiambu County government to proceed, or for our Kiambu to progress, I think we require Kiambu Metropolis Service.
I want to hear this from you. Because again, you know, there must be balance between real estate development as well as food production. And you talked about, you know, Kenya's dropping export produce.
Yes.
You know, in the first quarter of this year, you know, exports dropped by about 3%. And this was led by horticulture, tea, and coffee.
Yeah.
And we know the top producers of tea, horticulture, and coffee in this, in this country. And this has largely been blamed by, number one, the changing environment. And of course, number two, the change of the land change use.
Yes.
Whereby you have a lot of land, especially in Kiambu County, Kajiado, Nakuru, you know, being changed from agricultural into commercial. So where do you strike a balance between feeding the nation and providing homes to Kenyans?
Thank you. One of the basic things that we have today, we call food, shelter. So we talk about food.
So you have food, shelter, and clothing.
Food, shelter, and clothing.
Yeah.
So there's
Those
no
are the
way you can
basic
leave the
needs.
issue of food. There's no issue way you can leave the issue of
Clothing.
and shelter. Sasa wachana na clothing. Wacha tubaki na hizi mbili. Sa food and shelter. Unataka mahali pa kukaa. Si ni kweli? Mahali pa kukaa lazima ikuwe ni kwa shamba fulani. Si ni kweli? Tunazaliwa kila. In fact, Kenya, we are growing at a 1.4 million people every year. 1.4 million people every year.
And the trend is expected
And
to...
the trend, by 2070, this country will be having 100 million people. I'm telling you. So let us think as a country, by 2070, we are going to be 100 million people. Let's now plan for the 100 million people. Where they will live fast. Because the problem is not about where they will, whatever, watalima wapi. Ni watakaa wapi. Hawa watu watakaa wapi. Because the biggest problem in any country is where will people live. If you want to touch people's now, is where they live. So let's plan on where would these people live. Because mtu anaweza toka hapo, aende hapo, akuja kae kwako. Hata kama hana shamba ya kulima. You can house someone in your house. But you cannot talk about the issue of giving me the land. Not everybody who owns land to do agriculture. But let me bring you to the issue of agriculture. This country, led by our president, including when he was the deputy president, they did a very good initiative, and I am very sure our president is trying to push that agenda very well, the issue of food security. Today we are having, government has taken land, 1 million acres in Garana Kuraru. How I wish you people from the media go there and see the kind of farming that is happening in Garana Kuraru today. How to feed the nation. When we talk about import and export, 60% of the rice, or 70%, is imported. 70% or almost of wheat is imported. Some of them from Ukraine and the rest. But the thing is, where are we supposed to do this farming? Must we do it along Thika Road? Must we do it hapa hii barabara ya kwenda Nakuru hapo kwa barabara? Tuende hapo Wagigi. Sema hapo ndipo tunataka kulima. The rad in Wagigi is expensive. The rad hapa Kagudo Road is very expensive. Along Thika Road is very expensive. So it is not economically viable to do any subsistence farming along those major highway. Even anywhere around 20 kilometers this side or 20 kilometers this side. So as far as we are thinking about food security, let's first of all think about where would these people live. So let's talk about the planning, and we plan with the national government in mind. This county government not plan only by themselves. Let's engage, let's have a national conversation between the Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of RAD, county government, National Commission. They discuss how do we do farming as a country. Remember, Kenya is a unitary state. We are a one united country. And the county government cannot say their autonomy. No, they are not. Otherwise, hawana pesa zao. So we should have a way of how we can have all of us come together as people, as a country, and we do how do we solve the issue of food security. I give you a very good example. I come from Murang'a. If you go to Murang'a, there's a place called Maranjao. There's a good place called Makuyu where there are big chunks of land where we can do serious agriculture. And we can use that river Sagana. You could do a river. People in Egypt, they are using river Nile, and they are living along river Nile. Why can't we use river Sagana? So inatoka hapa inaenda all the way mpaka Mwingi. Inaingia mpaka Indian Ocean. Why can't we see how we can utilize the water and we do agriculture along the river and major river in those rivers that are very productive, but there's nothing that is happening there. Instead of coming to where people are living, telling them they're going to live on half acres, telling them they're going to live on this, we cannot do subsistence farming, especially in the metropolis. Get me very clear. We cannot do subsistence farming in metropolis and expect we are going to sort the issue of food security. Let's try to see how can we go to a place like Nyandarua, a place like Laikipia, and we do what we call exchange program. Tuende tukalime huko. We do serious wheat, mechanized one, mechanized farming. We do it there. The government is putting a lot of things in Ahero, Nyando, na hii hapa because of River Dam, which is happening here. Though the land, ukiangalia hapa Kirinyaga, this side of the road, the area that is remaining huko chini, ni kubwa sana. We can do a lot of other rice farming. So it is not about we don't have something to do. We need only to have a united way of doing things. We need to harmonize how we are going to solve the issue of the food security. Not a governor seated like this and think he can feed people. No, they can't. They can't.
Do county governors have the right to decide that in their planning, in their county land use plannings, they are empowered by the law to say that this part of the county, we're going to concentrate on agricultural business. This part, industrial. This part, real estate. You as an industry, do you get involved when these decisions are being made?
Our constitution is very clear on public participation. And the public participation that normally happens, especially at the county level, they call people who are there, kidogo kidogo, kujeni, sema yes, sign here, sema yes, yes. People who don't even know anything. Like, how can you come on my private rad and tell me to do industries? Give me the customer for the industry then. Give me the customer for the industry. You're telling my rad you want to do me, I do industry? Oh, very good. I will celebrate. Give me the customer for the industry. Because it is a private rad. County government can go and create those issues of saying here is agricultural, here is industry, here is this, on a government rad, not on private rad. And I told you Article 65 protect you. Article 40 protect the use of your rad. Nobody can limit you. In fact, it is very clear. I think I can read for you. Najua mimi natabeaga na katiba, leo sitatembea na katiba. Leo nilikuwa nataka ni, yes, I can tell you it's here, and it says,
this article?
Article 40 of the Constitution. It is called Protection of Right to Property. subject, this Article 1 Part 1 says, subject to Article 65, every person has a right, either individually or in association with others, to acquire and own property.
And what does Article 65 says?
That's what it says. Subject to Article, you can read Article 65. It says, Article 65
yeah.
of the Constitution of Kenya. It says, Article 65 of the Constitution regulates land holding by non-resident, stipulates that they can only hold land on a leasehold basis of 99 years. Any land attempting to grant, they know where you want to see. It's a whole chapter. It talks about maximum lease period of 99 years. It talks about non-resident, resident, and not so much. It talks about even land held in trust, that by citizen. Parliament has a power to enact further legislation to provide the operation of Article 65. It talks about, but I wanted to read to you what says. It talks about a right for you to own property. So even a non-citizen can hold land, and you get a lease of 99 years. You can also hold, as long as you are paying the rates, it automatically gets renewed, it's yours. But now look at here. Number 2, it says, Parliament shall not enact a law that permit the state or any person, this is subsection 2 of Article 40, to arbitrarily deprive a person of a property or any interest. That is A. So the national government cannot do what? They cannot deprive you your land. I'm talking about private land. Number B, Parliament shall not enact a law that permit the state or any person to limit or in any way restrict the enjoyment of any right under the articles on the basis of any ground. So state cannot come and tell you on your own land that now from today hapa Thika Road nyinyi wote watu wawetaidie hamwezi kulima miji, mtakuwa mnalima viazi. State cannot do that, and I believe county government is part of the state. They can't.
Let's talk about
government don't have those powers, but they create those powers and they publish them. Then they come and tell you you must follow the law. County government, you cannot create law that ultraviolate the constitution and you think that you can go away with them. Never.
Let's talk about land digitization and digitalization. It has been touted as a panacea to the challenges facing land ownership and management in Kenya. So far, the government has opened how many land registries?
I think Murang'a one is active. In Nairobi one. We have a registry in Kiambu.
Yeah.
But the digitization, Nakuru.
Eldoret.
LD, even Machakos.
And even Kajiado County.
Even Kajiado County.
Are they enough?
We need more, but what we need to have more is the digitization process.
The digitization?
Yes. Like Machakos, digitized.
It's fully digitized?
Yes.
Kiambu?
Zero. Wanataka manual. Imagine you can go to Kiambu County government,
Nairobi?
then you are told the CEC is not in.
Nairobi?
How does the governor have to do anything to do the approval?
What about Nairobi? Is it fully digitized?
Yes, it is digitized. But now the problem with Nairobi is, I think the current governor is trying to, alikuwa na hiyo program ya kujaribu kuangalia, because out of public outcry, he has pushed whereby those things should not be taking more than 2 weeks. Among apply yako should not take more than 2 weeks, because it was even taking a year. So I think the problem with Nairobi was the issue of having many protocols and many people along the way in the process. You can see it is there. Who is supposed to do it?
You'll be able. You can track your process.
Track it. It requires only small panel beating. Nairobi, it is small panel beating and it works.
Do you see the hand of human in frustrating the digitization process?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
Is there anything that can be done to remove it?
Yes. Let me tell you something. Section 58 of the Planning Act Physical and Planning Act 2019 says, it's a regulation, that if it takes 60 days without you having an approval or getting a written reason on why your approval has not been given out, it automatically granted. I want to confirm the same to you, so that at least you don't say I'm saying things which are imaginary. If you look here and you Google what you call or you check section 58 of Planning Act in Kenya.
The Planning Act of 2012? Or 2019.
In Kenya. Leo nimeamua nitakwambia yote. Ndio hii. This is what it says. Section 58 of Kenya Physical and Land Use Planning Act of 2019 outlines the application process for development permission require applicant to submit prescribed form with detailed information on radius, population, density, and proposed easement. Listen, it even talk about population. It even talk about density. It even talk about radius. But you might find some county government saying that you surrender 10%. 10% based on what?
10% of what?
At your ad. I have seen some county government saying
you surrender 10% to the county government?
Of your ad to county government. Come on my private ad, I give you 10%.
Is there any legal basis to that?
What? There is no legal basis. They go and prepare it in the county assembly. And you hear them telling you the reason why we have not given you your approval is you have not followed the law. Which law? You cannot go and create illegal law and tell me to follow the illegal law, and I'm protected by the constitution. That if the state want my rad, tumesoma na wewe article 40. Inasema if the state want to take anybody's rad for public use or public interest, they must compensate. That's what article 40 says. Now section 58 is protecting you. If they refuse to give you, it says, notably, if the planning authority does not provide a written response to the application within 60 days, the permission is considered granted by default.
Let me ask you this.
So, if anybody who is there and you applied in any county government, your application, and you have not been given a written reason for denial, for the approval, just know your application is approved according to section 58 of the Planning Act.
You see, when you look at land use and management here in Kenya, the constitution is the anchor law.
Yeah.
But then next you have the Property Act. You have the Land Registration Act. Also county comes in with Land Use Act. Do we really need to improve on our legal processes, or do you think or feel that the industry is over-regulated?
I don't want to say that we are over-regulated. I want to say I think people have got personal interest. And the only way right now people are safeguarding themselves is through the court. You say the legal mechanism that you can use. If, for instance, you have not been given approval, and you want to go for your ad, and you want to develop, I have seen investors coming in this country, and they want to do factories. But because some people seated in the county government do not want to give that approval, they frustrate the investor. And when they are frustrated, they go back with their money. So this country we are marketing a lot. Our president is all over marketing this country. Governors are all over marketing this country. But when it comes to the issue of implementing or trying now to start or to move, process hapa katikati inakuwa mbaya. Maybe the president does not know, but I don't want to say that the governor do not know. Most of the governors know what is happening. The
governors are aware.
Oh, most of the governors, I want to say most of the governors are aware. We have some county government that you don't have a problem, you don't encounter problem today when you're getting your approvals. place like a place like Uasin Gishu, huko kwa Governor B. A place like Nakuru, you don't get problems. No, you don't get. In fact, they even don't know so things because you have CEC who is mandated on a matter's approval. Because if you get your approval, you never see the signature of the governor. You see the signature of the CEC. But so now, it's not about overregulation. I think it's about interest. I think, or maybe some ignorance, or maybe purely economic sabotage, or something that we don't know. Because we cannot market the country. And I told you when talk about RAD, don't only think about real estate kujenga tu nyumba. No, factories, industries. It's a sector of manufacturing. We require RAD. But that factory requires a piece of RAD. And that's what I want to sell. But I don't get approvals. So that industry will not be done. People will not get jobs. Cement company will not work. We have seen cement company going down. We've seen kampuni za mabati, kampuni za chuma. Vijana wetu watafanya kazi gani? Na ama how would our people work? So we must have a deliberate effort that we sit down, and I'm going to ask the Council of Governors, please, let's sit down. Let's sit down and see how we are going to grow our economy together. Let's avoid these shows, because some of these governors are making our MCAs not to be re-elected. Because our MCAs, they are relying with what the governor will say. Remember, MCAs do not have their own fund. So they have to rely with the governor for development in their area. When there is no development, so I'm even calling for to have a water development fund, so that at least these MCAs would not go to beg or to kneel to the governor to bring development in their area.
Help me understand this. I mean, when you look at Kenya, there are various associations that represent the welfare of investors.
Yeah.
In the real estate industry, you have the Real Estate Association of Kenya. You have the Kenya Private Sector Alliance.
Yeah.
You have Kenya Association of Manufacturers. You have resident associations. All these organizations, have they made a petition either to the Council of Governors, to the Presidency, to the Ministry, or to Parliament? Do we have any conversations going on so how they can ease land approvals in Kenya and land transactions?
Thank you for that. I think currently we've been having so many institutions in the sector try to push that agenda of togetherness. And now today we are having an institution called LESA, Real Estate Welfare Association. All of us in the private sector, like us, where the company that I represent called Finsco Africa, we have we are members of LESA, called Real Estate Welfare Association. We have our own chairman called Washira. He's the CEO and the chairman of Almods. We don't look at ourselves as competitors. We are complementing each other. And previously, before that, we had another one who was called Kenywa, who is the CEO of Maonorad. So we have many people. So we find us people like AMG is a good company that's doing very well. We have Wilson Home, we have World Co, Optiven. We are there. So when recently we got a problem, we recently petitioned Kiambu County Assembly recently, and we put our case together. And we went there, and we were given a chance in Kiambu County.
Audience.
Yes, we were given audience in the assembly, and we went there and we were given an audience by the committee for the Kiambu County, the one that look for the issue of urban planning, RAD, and all those issues. But the moment we put those things and we gave our request, so our request to be checked, instead of that, we were even harassed more. In fact, the chairman who gave us that chance was removed. I think Anaitu Wangada, an MC of I think Monera, he was removed, and the committee was distorted completely.
So what is your next
So
step?
now the next thing is to go to the Senate and to go to court and to ask the president, a place like Kiambu, itolewe planning. What is itolewe planning? Itolewe planning, na itolewe health. Because they have been unable to manage the health.
But land planning is a function of the county government.
No, Kiambu, Nairobi itolewe planning, ikapatiwa badi.
Yeah, through arrangement.
It was an arrangement. It was not about whether Sonko could agree or not. No, it was given to them.
So,
because Kiambu require the same. Otherwise, this country will continue having problems.
Help me understand this. You seem to
And
be
this is
having a lot of challenges with
fact, because it is not anything that I'm trying to talk about bad things about Kiambu. I'm saying the issue of the planning in Kiambu has been politicized so much. It requires, first of all, to be given to the county, to the national government. Itengenezewe mambo zote za approval itolewe kwa county, ipatiwe team that does not report to the governor but report to the ministry.
You are from Murang'a County.
Yes.
You have businesses in Kiambu County.
Yes.
You live in Nairobi.
Yes.
When you look at, land processes in those three counties, why are you picking up on Kiambu?
Because, did you saw the issue of Tattoo City?
Yep.
Why were they complaining? It's a big institution like that one. Are you telling me those people are mad? No. There are other people who are gone through problems. Let me tell you something. One day, you realize that you go and you want to go and buy a piece of rad somewhere in Kiambu. I'm a victim. You asking me why? Let me tell you why. I am a victim. An issue that I can even go in a court of law and present my case. And ask the county government of Kiambu to pay me for the loss of income. Do you know why I'm saying this? It's because you go with your own rad, you call your people, your customers, and tell them, come we do, I have the rad that I got here, come you tell me what you require. Then the customers come. When they're there, maybe I need a quarter, or you write, me a quarter, hey, I want a half, I want to. From the study that you take, that's why we do what we call the bucket sounding. Or that's what we call feasibility study. You record, I think 40% of the people want quota. 60% want this. This number of percent want this. That is how you'll be able to plan your ad. When you show them on a bare ad, that's how you'll be able to understand what people want. Because you cannot go and start planning for halves. Because you don't know what people want. But before that, you realize that your people are harassed. They are arrested. I have 3 people who were arrested, my staff.
For what?
By Kiambu County government. But we were selling rad without approval. Show me the law that says that you cannot sell your rad without approval.
Have you talked to the National Land Commission?
It is not their mandate to do that. I think the best thing is...
But they are the custodians of lands in Kenya.
They are custodians, but it is not within their jurisdiction about that issue, whether to sell rad without approval or not approval.
Have you talked to Senate?
Now, I've already started the process.
Is it you or the... players in the industry?
We are going the SLSA, lead estate. Tulianza Kiambu, tukaenda kwa assembly. Now we are going to the Senate to tell them to check the conduct. In fact, that is abuse of office.
Is the Ministry of Lands aware of this?
We have not written to the ministry, but we have spoken to them.
About the challenges you're facing?
People, but we have also mentioned we have written, especially because we are a victim, we have written a letter that tumeipeana kwa some government offices.
When you talk to investors in, let's say, Kilifi County, because even in Kilifi County you have real estate investors. When you talk to investors in Kwale County, in Mombasa County, in Uasin Gishu County, in Nakuru County, are they experiencing the same challenges?
Kilifi, those issues are not there. Those issues are not there.
What have they done differently?
No, my friend. People even asking, when do you want to start? How can we help you? They're even giving you services almost like for free. When do you want us to start? One day we went to Uasin Gishu, and my team, we wanted to buy a piece of land in Uasin Gishu. We want to do a project in Eldoret. A very big project. I want to say it's ambitious because it's a big project, about 600 acres. We want to do a whole master plan with a lot of things in Eldoret, in partnership with the people, other partners in Eldoret. In our meeting, the governor, anaita kwa koti moja, ule bwana B.
Yep.
Do you know he came to our meeting and asked us, what do you want? And he came with a team. Have you ever been feeling that I was not there, me as a CEO, but my directors were there. The governor was asking them, what do you want? Work with this one. What do you want? Work with this one. And this is how we are looking at this area.
What about in Murang'a County?
Murang'a, we are trying. Murang'a, we are trying. because I have a project in Moranga called Vika Group Chania. I've already given the titles. We had small challenges at the beginning, but right now those challenges are not there. So because Moranga, when we started,
what are they doing differently that other counties like Kiambu are not doing it?
Kiambu government, they will dodge you. Kiambu government, you even go and try to sell the project in Moranga in Kiambu, they will not stamp your document. Like for us, I think they were given ultimatums. Don't touch the document that come from this company. So don't start, you have those flyers. You go and take there. Unaambiwa usipeleke ukijaribu kuzichukua huko, then you leave the job.
Very well.
If you go to that planner, anakwambia hii maneno, I don't want to lose my job. When you hear people are being intimidated that way, then you realize we are in the wrong direction.
Maura,
I think one day, why can't you one day call for a forum? Isikuwe ni mimi. You call us from the lead estate, like the way you normally call for a meeting like this one. Someone is seated there, people, and you don't choose.
Where we can have a panel conversation.
A panel. Choose that, then call the CEC.
Very good.
Call the CEC, call the director of whatever, call all of them. We sit down in a panel. We ask ourselves questions. Probably, maybe it's a problem that can be sorted out. Or maybe the government does not know.
Well, Kogi, unfortunately, time is up. When it was just getting better and sweeter. We'll keep on having this conversation and, of course, talking to all the stakeholders, because at the end of the day, all of us are Kenyans, and our agenda is to see a well-developed and a harmonious country.
Yeah.
We'll continue to converse, and we are looking forward to that kind of a panel discussion whereby we're going to have the COG, RESA, NLC, Ministry of Lands, all together in one platform to discuss land matters in this country.
Thank you so much. I'll ask my chairman, the RESA, to contact you guys. You can have a panel.
Very good.
And it will be very good.
Thank you very much indeed.
Asante.
Well, we've been talking to Maura Kogi. He's the CEO of Finsco Africa. And of course, our topic of conversation this morning has been around land management in Kenya and how we can use land as a tool for socio-economic development in this country. And you have heard from him the challenges and the opportunities and the bolts that we need to tighten so that we can move forward. You're watching Biz Check. The first hour is down. We're coming up next with the second hour. And our conversation, we shall be looking at the dynamics of global geopolitics. Our guests are in the house. This is Biz Check with me, O'Brien Kimani.
Sitatoroka tena.
Tutaenda hivyo nayo.
Kioko has you and Alex exactly where he wants you. Kama ni mbaya, wacha ikuwe mbaya.
Maxine, uko poa?
Tumefungiwa nyumba, that's what it is.
Endo waambie ni mwape siku mbili watoke huko.
Keys to the new locks.
I should have let Alex throw your dad under the bus. Mzee wako wako wapi?
Kamresh, idea ilikuwa ya Jane.
She could be the key of maybe even keeping your dad from going to jail. Trish uko wapi?
If you want my full cooperation, I need to have that immunity document signed and brought here.
Nawe mzee?
Hiyo deal ya Mama Jabali bado iko.
Yaani mzee kama Jemedai na hizo miaka zote zake, mtaka kumweka ndani?
I'm his lawyer.
Karibu. Ingia.
Brought us together, one faith, one call. A mercy to mankind, the greatest of all.
Sadaka si tu kutoa mali, bali ni moyo wa kujitolea na kusaidia wengine kwa ajili ya radhi za Allah. Kila Muislamu bila kujali hali yake ya kiuchumi ana fursa ya kutoa sadaka katika namna yote.
Watachukua haki za wanyonge na wanyonge hawatakuwa na watetezi wakati huo. Lao kaenda wewe ndio utazidishwa makosa. Kwa hiyo Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam akasema zama hizo zikifika ndizo anazozihofia. Kwa hiyo anahofia mambo 6 katika umma wake.
Insana fi ahsani taqwim thumma radadnahu asfala safilin illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat
ala ali Ibrahim Allahumma barik ala Muhammad.
It's art, it's culture, it's fun, it's art.
As you can see with me, I have this handkerchief. And is it really a handkerchief or is it?
My name is Kevin Kasioki. Please join me each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Mimi tangu lini nimetoka nyumbani pira ninia ndani nikuje nifesa company.
Sasa mimi hawezi kujua mara ngapi, lakini siku ile sisi lisika wewe ilikuwa tu kaangala.
Hata uoni haya kutembea bila
mimi kikwetu sisi hatufahangi ile ndani. Sasa kwani kuna makosa gani? Mimi vile uliniona nilikuwa short but round. I was just like that.
Like that na ya kampuni tu beki.
Asa yuko nipi?
Imagine.
Kulingana na uchunguzi ilijulikana kwamba biashara ya kuiba nguo na kuuza haukuanza jana ama juzi.
Sasa hiyo kielele umelete mpaka huku utaongeza madaraka.
Good morning.
Well, you're watching this check live from Broadcasting House. Brian Kimani is my name. We have done with the first hour. We are coming up next with the second hour. And I told you earlier on that we are discussing the ongoing global geopolitics, the realignments taking place, and what does it mean for Africa and for Kenya, and how do we align our ducks to ensure that our interests are covered. That conversation will be taking place here. But for now, we want to take you to the EDGE convention, where architects are having a convention to discuss building a competitive and sustainable practice in the built environment. Our reporter Alan Aoko is on standby to give us more updates. Alan, if you can hear me, kindly bring us to speed. What are the architects saying at that forum?
Thank you very much, O'Brien, back in Broadcasting House here at the EDGE Convention Center in South Sea, Nairobi. We are attending a seminar which has been organized by the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors. We are here to see how the industry is shaping up the sector and how these experts and professionals are, adding capacity to their skills in everyday life. The issue of the built-up environment, if I can say that. Here with me, I'm not alone. I have with me some experts just to give us a feel of what this seminar is all about. Remember, we attended this seminar 3 months ago, and at that time we were talking about technology and integrating technology with how these professionals use in building our built-up environment, which includes every auxiliary item that is around our buildings and the likes. So let me bring in an expert in this, and maybe they'll begin by introducing themselves and just talking to us about what this seminar is about, and we will move on from there. Welcome to the program, and tell us, what is this seminar about? After introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Architect Patrick Mugo Karugo, and I am the leader of training at the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors. We are here today on one training among the two we usually hold, and the theme of our seminar today is building a competitive and sustainable practice for our professionals who are architects and quantity surveyors. We have 3 themes in this training, and one is harnessing what is in the profession. Then we also have synthesizing them on the blooding aspects, and finally how they would use technology to harness the practice. The growth of the training by the board has been continuous, and this is anchored in the acts. We need to train our professionals all the time. And if I can give a short highlight, for the last 3 or so years, we have looked at matters of transformation, then we have looked at the matters of empowerment. And here we are today looking at matters of competitiveness and sustainability. We have a team of trainers who are taking us from short mentorship courses, and then we are trying to get linkages within the region. We have the African Trade Act, which is empowered, and we have over 58 countries which have ascended to it. How can our professional anchor themselves into it? We run that. At the end of the day, we also need to build brand on ourselves. So we have presentation whereby you have experts on branding, personal branding, and farm branding. How does it work? And the board ensures that there is proper training on that. The board goes to extra strengths, extra depths of getting very experienced presenters so that our architects and our professionals are well equipped. After that, we have also what we call case studies. Learning by experience is always the best way to move forward. And we will see one of our own practices formed locally by our own architects, our own conservator, and leaders in the same thing, they will do the presentation. We also have our moral support. A good farm is one that the partners, the directors, the staff have their health, have their emotional strength, and are well rounded up. Again, we will go into all that. The board does not just restrict itself to training that are locally. It also conducts what we call international CPDs, and like this year, there was a visit to the Europe, and next year there will be another visit. So we will also get highlights so that you are prepared. You are when you have the prior information, you also are well prepared. So basically, that is what we are expecting in this training, and it will be quite beneficial for all of us. Thank you very much.
Indeed, allow me to ask just a few questions, if I may. What are some of these contentious issues you have seen that maybe you find professionals in architecture and quantity surveying really need to be addressed in such a seminar?
Thank you very much. If I may refer to our training this session, it's about trade. One of the issues is how is the region opening up for us? We have a mutual recognition agreement, which is basically an East African document. Again, in the same document, not all countries have acceded to it. The challenge is we also need the government to come in and educate and also open the doors for us. The board may be doing its part, but we need a bigger body to help us so that the challenge of getting jobs locally, we can look for jobs even outside. Again, we have a challenge on the sense that we are trained as professional architects. What else can we do? I can be a manufacturer, I can be an educator like myself, a university lecturer. I can also go into other businesses. Again, those challenges will be handled in this training. Thank you.
But even as we talk about these challenges, I'm assuming that Kenya is not too far off with the best in the world. Where are we in terms of professionalism in this sector?
First of all, thank you very much. Regionally, Kenya is way ahead in terms of professionalism. Going back, if I can recall, countries like Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda have borrowed a lot from the instruments we have when it comes to moving the professionals. We have a pool of very knowledgeable professionals. If I may look also at data, architects and quantity surveyors in this region are beyond actually 3,000. And that's a very big number when we look at what we need per person, per capita in terms of what you do. So we just need a situation whereby we are allowed to move out, we are allowed to give our practice regionally. Thank you.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, and we do appreciate your time. So O'Brien, lucky for us as well, even as we've learned what the seminar is about, you've heard about the role of the government and what can the government do to uplift the sector, bring up architects and quantity surveyors. Lucky for us, we do have someone who's representing the government, and he will introduce himself and tell us exactly what policy making from the government side is doing to this sector to make sure that professionalism is at a high and that our built-up environment is much better today than yesterday. Karibu sana, maybe introduce yourself and tell us about policy making in this sector.
Okay, thank you. My name is Architect David Waitito, Chief Architect in the State Department for Public Works, which is within the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. Being the Chief Architect, I'm involved in the policy, preparations for the State Department. And I can say that for the profession, we are working hard to ensure that our professionals are up to date and they can fit within the market, both in the locally and even across outside the country. And we're starting at the training level because what is happening is that there's a lot of training going on right now. And right from the college, the TVETs, they are doing some training even for the technicians. And so then also for the diploma and the national polytechnics and the universities. And at the State Department, we are involved in mentoring them. We have what we call attachments for those who are ongoing with the ongoing training. It's a 3-month session. And we have really been taking quite a number of students who are ongoing the training. And they are based at our regional offices and even at the national level headquarters. For those ones who have completed, we also taking them on board at what we call the internship program, headed by the Public Service Commission. That is a 1-year internship program. And then we also engage those ones who are employed as new professionals in the State Department. And those ones, we place them at the experienced professionals so that they can learn and get to understand the profession without really having to struggle a lot. So there is a lot that we are doing there. And on the other, that is on the training part. And even going forward, we are still planning on how we will be engaging with the training institutions. What we realized that some years back, we only had one university that was producing architects. And but now we have 5 of them, national of the public universities. And so in terms of numbers, we already have quite a good number. And so that means that even when there is need for export of the services, we'll be having the professionals available. In terms of the practice at the State Department, the ministry spearheaded the review or the enactment of what we call the National Building Code, which is actually now the document that is guiding the profession and the construction sector. And what is happening is that previously, the one that was repealed was developed in 1968. So you can imagine all those years we had not updated our building code. So now we have a code that our professionals are using. And that one, even in terms of the codes and standards we are using now, what are the British. And that is also being used in the training institutions. So that by the time now, even we are joining the practice, people already understand, like now, the British codes and international codes, so that they are able to fit, not just within the country, even out of the country. So then we're also developing other areas, the green building standards, which is actually dealing with the climate change, which is a key area. And so we are preparing our professionals and even attending this CPD, because even our officers at the national government or at the ministry are here also to learn. So they're also getting this experience, they're also getting these skills, so that they are ready for the market out there. So, and we've seen a lot of positive impact. There's a lot that is happening with officers, and they can easily fit. Some of them are actually working out of the country, and we have mentored them, and we are proud of what they are doing out there. Yes, thank you.
All right, you've spoken a lot about the training and the professionals, the young professionals that are coming through the pipeline. Perhaps do you have any numbers to tell our viewers about how many are in the pipeline? Are we able to absorb all these young professionals in the various sectors that we are talking about?
I may not have the actual numbers with me, but what I know is that in terms of from the State Department, we engage up to 200 to 300 on an annual basis in terms of the attachment and the internship. And so those are the ones who come to us. But what is happening is that the government may not be able to absorb them. But what we are doing is to equip them with the skills so that they are able to fit within the market, whether they're private or even in the government, locally and externally. So in terms of what we are doing most is to equip them with the skills. Yeah.
And you've also spoken about this new age technology that is used in the built-up environment. You're talking about alternative building solutions. How fast is the government absorbing these new technologies and advising policy-wise the sector to conform with this new type of building?
Well, there is a lot that is happening, and like I've just mentioned with the building code. So what you realize is that we're no longer stuck with the very traditional masonry walling. We are adopting the new technologies which has come, and actually it is being embraced in the government. So, and it starts with the professionals. Once they now adopt it, and we specify it in when we are preparing our documents, it is also being used in the material. So it's something that the government has really picked up. And you can see even for government buildings, it's not just the traditional stone and mortar, but a lot of new technology is being used in the construction. Yes.
Indeed, thank you very much for speaking to us. As you can see, O'Brien, we are learning a lot in this conference. We are learning about technology. We are learning about training of the young ones in the pipeline coming through, professionals who are the architects and quantity surveyors. We are up to standard. We are apparently still the best in the region, and we continue to have visitors coming to benchmark with us as we churn out professionals in this sector. Of course, we will continue giving you these updates as we move along, and of course, consequently, a story. But for now, back to you in studio.
Well, thank you, Alan Aoko, there engaging with various professionals attending that continuous assessment meeting at the Edge. And this meeting brings together professionals in the built environment. And we're talking about quantity surveyors as well as architects. And they have been brought together by the Board of Registration of Architects and Quantity Surveyors. And their agenda is very simple: to look at ideas and innovations that can drive sustainable agenda in the built environment. Well, that's kind of conversation that is taking place here. We are back in studio. We are in for the second hour, and our conversation is, we want to look at the global geopolitics. And if I can give you some break, I mean a little bit of a breather here. You know, about 10 days ago, there was a major display of military power as well as political power in China. They were marking their 80th anniversary since the war with Japan ended, and 4 world leaders were on display. We saw the North Korean President Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin of Russia, Iranian President Masharoum Pezeshkian, as well as the Chinese President Xi Jinping. And according to many commentators, this was the beginning of a new global alignment. And the question is, where is Africa in all this? And who should we align ourselves with? And oh, by the way, there was also the Zimbabwean president as well, who was invited by Xi Jinping. And more so, how should Kenya align itself with the re-emerging global military as well as political forces? That is the conversation that we just want to have here on BizCheck. We have Chris Otieno. He's the chairperson of the PROSAC, and PROSAC stands for Protective and Safety Association of Kenya. He's the acting Secretary General. He's joining us this morning, and he has been here, and of course, he's also a security analyst. Thank you very much indeed, Otieno, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, O'Brien, for having me. Thank you so much.
And next we have Dr. Mbaye. Dr. Mbaye is a peace, yes, this is Dr. Peter Mbaye. He's a governance and leadership expert as well as a peace expert. And he's also joining us there so that he can help us put this conversation into perspective. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. for joining us this morning. And first of all, I want to hear from you. How would you describe, Dr., the current global geopolitics?
Thanks so much, O'Brien, and our viewers. We are living in a very interesting times. Now, just to be in line with our viewers, geopolitics simply means how the world system, you know, the geopolitics, how the world system affects each one of us wherever we are. It's, we talk about the economy of Kenya, for example. We talk about East Africa. We talk about Africa. Now, geopolitics is what happens out there, how it affects back home, the kind of impact it has and all that. Now, you mentioned about, and normally several things happen. There is, first of all, what you call the economic forecasts. The way the world is organized and structured in terms of it is the whole world, for example, but it is interlinked with everyone else. So you can't say, because I'm in Kenya, I don't care what happens, you know, in Russia. I don't care what happens in America, in Australia, in other, because there's some interconnectivity. There's something we normally say, that the world is a global village, that whatever happens here can affect. Now, but more closely, especially in the last 5 years, like you have mentioned, we have seen a lot of economic focus affecting, of course, trade and inflation and monetary policy. We have seen a lot of tariffs pushback. America come in and says, look here, we want to push back tariffs affecting China, metals, autos, and all that. Then, of course, there's inflation. Out of the wars in Ukraine and Russia, it has affected, you know, fuel, food, all the way to Kenya here. So,
especially grain, wheat.
Especially grain, you know, fuel and fertilizers, all those kind of things. So therefore, we can't ignore geopolitics. We can't ignore what's happening outside there. And then brings me to the issue you have mentioned. When you see alignments, therefore, where are we as Africa? Now, remember there has been all these meetings, you know, Japan, Africa, you know, cooperation, US, Africa cooperation, China Africa cooperation, Europe. Europe and all that. But the question is, how prepared is Africa to be able to engage? Okay, how prepared is Africa to be able to engage? The center powers, they come with an agenda. They come knowing we need Africa because of the resources. It's a big place and unexpected resources. How they normally come with some advantage. You remember them complaining how they are put in buses, right? Now, but the question is, and you remember we had this conversation sometime when I was involved in matters of trade and investment. Can we first organize ourselves as Kenya? Then we get East Africa, remember our issue of expanding the market. Then expand our market through the issues of AFCFTA. As Africa first. Then we take advantage, then we determine as Africa, who do we need in the rest of the world? Who do we need to engage with about fuel, about food, about grains? That is a kind of the ideal situation we need to have. Unfortunately, the developed worlds normally have a very good system of engaging with us. So when they invite us for meetings, they have an agenda. But ourselves, by the time we go there, they look us at 42 or 43 fragmented states. So they are able to come and get a deal with this president, get a deal with the other president, without that competitive advantage of being able to do something together. That is the worst imbalance of geopolitics and the issue of the West versus Africa, how we go on about all this. Yes, where are we in these things? Unfortunately, they have to organize first. Then they see where to get it in Africa when they have an advantage. Well, when of the day they have organized themselves. That's where you see, when you see all the powers you mentioned there coming together to say this is what we need to do. Then there is the other alliance of America and the allies. Africa normally comes at the end. That's why for years we end up being the victims. We are not able to be on the table and be proactive. That, first of all, because before you get a solution, you first must of all understand what is the problem. And for me, that's the problem.
That is the problem. And I like the fact that you are bringing in the issue of, you know, splitting Africa into many mini groups and inviting this president and leaving this one out, as opposed to inviting the African Union, which is the representation of African countries. I'll be coming back to you for that. But I want to hear these, Chris. I mean, we've sat with you here and discussed the ongoing various global wars, you know, from Russia with Ukraine to Israel and Iran, to the tensions in the Taiwan Strait. Has the situation gotten better since the last time I engaged you, or is the situation getting out of hand?
Categorically, O'Brien, the situation is getting out of hand. And why this situation is getting out of hand is just what the question you a few minutes asked about the global alignment and realignments. We know very well that right now the current world order is US-led, the dollar economy, right? And what you've seen, countries that have been classified by Western narration as rogue nations, that is North Korea, Iran, China, Russia, what they have done, they've come together. And I'm so happy to say that in that coming together in the name of BRICS, we see one African country, South Africa. That is a very good impression towards the African approach to global issues. Now, when you go back to the wars that are being fought, we actually also seeing the wars of the future either being fought now or will be fought in the near future. America and Venezuela are right now in a very tight situation where America has been bombing Venezuelan vessels in the name of drug fighting. If you go to Taiwan, there's a very big confrontation in South Asia about US and China trying to show their dominance. China have gone way ahead because of the technological advancement. China is 15 years ahead of the United States in terms of technology. They've done
especially in the hypersonic missile,
and the airplane carriers and many others. They're even doing around 150 feet deep of military headquarters, just like the Pentagon. Israel, on the other hand, supported by America unwittingly, is now fighting wars from 8 fronts, to include the recent attack on Qatar. So all this, day by day, is worsening the global situation, is worsening global peace and stability. And as this goes on, we start to see African countries coming up. You've seen South Africa taking a case to the ICC against Israel. You've seen also other nations in Africa starting to point fingers and say, guys, you got to stop in this. What you're doing is not right. So gradually, as these wars go on, and these alignments still take a lot of root, we'll see a lot of disparities amongst countries, and Africa will take place. It is wrong to say Africa is right now being played as cards on the table, but gradually,
it's a pawn in a chess game.
Gradually, we're going to come and get our place in the global arena and have a voice. And we've seen Burkina Faso leading that road. And as Burkina Faso takes that road, very many leaders are looking at what is happening there. We've seen other military juntas taking the same kind of a path. So gradually, step by step, Africa is coming to that field where we'll be able to say, we can't do this. Even our own president last time said, we're going to run away from buying our petroleum in dollar, we're going to use Kenyan shillings. What does that tell you? It tells you African countries are now realizing themselves that they're taking a route that Africa ought to have taken.
They're taking a position.
Absolutely.
Very good. I mean, I want you to hold it there because we want to go to the county of Kisumu, where Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen is holding the Jukwaa Usalama. Let's listen in and then we are coming back with more analysis.
And there is a reason why Isiolo also is part of this network, because we know the people who have been organizing to ferry goods from other cities to Isiolo and other places. So from a national perspective, we are going to have one clear direction how to dismantle these gangs, and particularly their financial status, the people who are financing, and the people who are hiring them must be engaged to peacefully exit that business, or the police will take the necessary legal action. I want to thank the judiciary for cooperating with the National Police Service, but we will need even greater cooperation. And I am ready to engage. We are ready from the security perspective to engage the judiciary to appreciate the danger that gangs pose if we don't do something insofar as enforcement is concerned. The other phenomenon that is serious here is the gender-based violence. Sexual and gender-based violence is very prevalent. In this county, the national average is 32%. In this county, it's 36%. And in this region also is higher. You are aware that yesterday there was a girl who was defiled and brutally murdered in Migori. And the Inspector General of Police has already sent us a team from the headquarters to support the county team to make sure that we get to the bottom of that act that happened yesterday. But this is not just one case, like the case of Migori yesterday. It's happening all over. This county, as I said, 36%. Part of the reasons why it's prevalent is because of repugnant practices, including disco matanga, including wife inheritance, including issues that related to broken family ties. And this as the people who defile our children are those whom they expect greater protection. Again, we want to ask non-governmental organizations, churches, our chiefs, our assistant chiefs to raise greater awareness through barazas, to also the community to cooperate with us to make sure that these criminals are apprehended, and the National Police Service must take very stern action against this issue. Again, because it's widespread in many parts of the country, we are going to have to look at this issue even with greater focus. we do not have rescue centers here. So it's important also that the county government invest in rescue centers to make sure that we can deal with these issues. The fourth issue, which is persistent in this area, is the question of illicit alcohol and drugs. Again, unfortunately, Kisumu is the third leading county when it comes to the proliferation of illicit alcohol. Kisumu is also the fifth leading county in the country when it comes to use of or substance abuse, including use of drugs. That is because it's a city, but also it's neighboring border place, and it is the biggest city in the region. So, and then because of the sugar industry, some of the adulterated ethanol also is distributed here in this county. Again, we had agreed with the National Police Service that there must be special operations in the whole region when we were in Kakamega, and this will be extended to Kisumu and this region to make sure that we target the perpetrators. It's also clear from intelligence report that the persons who are dealing with this alcohol not only operate from here, they have a link with Nairobi, especially in Kibera. They have a link also with what's happening in Vihiga and Kakamega. And there are particular persons who have been being trailed, and I'm sure that the enforcement will lead to very good results. So we have many other issues. We have land issues. Land issues are causing a lot of friction in the family. There's a lot of corruption in the lands ministry, and that is also perpetuating this issue of fights among communities, families, and we are going to engage the Minister of Lands to make sure that transparency is the norm within the lands ministry, and that they can follow the law in terms of land registration, among others. These are the smaller issues are also being dealt with, and I think mining is not a big problem here, but also there's a border issues between here and Kericho and Nandi, and that's being handled, and I've told the Ngao people to accelerate the process. There are some administrative units at the border that needs to be aligned so that then the chiefs on both sides can have better conversation to solve these issues amicably. I think I have summarized the issues here, and therefore I'd like to take about three questions.
Well, that is Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen. He is touring the Kisumu County as part of the Jukwaa Usalama initiative, and of course addressing the issues of drugs and substance abuse. And he has said that Kisumu is number 5 in Kenya in terms of drugs and substance abuse, and of course the government is laying out strategies to deal with that menace. We are back in studio. Our conversation is on global geopolitics. We are in the company of two gentlemen who are well versed on these issues. Dr. Peter Bai, he's a governance and leadership expert. He's joining us this morning. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. And of course, next to him, we have Chris Otieno. He's a global geopolitics analyst, as well as the chair of PROSEC. Before we went to the county of Kisumu, you talked about the new realignments that are taking place and the role of Africa in these. And the question that I wanted to find out from you is, when you look at the way the global order is architectured, you have the big powers, and the big powers are China, the US, Russia, then you have United Kingdom as well as France. There is a debate that is ongoing whether we need to have why India is out in this group, despite the fact that it's now the fourth biggest economy. Why we still have China and I mean not China but France and UK in that group, despite the fact that when you look at their military as well as economic and political influence, they have waned in the last 20 years. And there has been called that it is high time that we have Africa represented by AU or the African Union. Do you see this happening?
I don't think that will happen. And why I'm saying I don't strongly think that will happen, we know how the world order works. For example, like my brother said a few minutes ago, that Africa has been partitioned. And yes, it has been partitioned for specific reasons. If you look at, for example, Southeast, if you look at Middle East or West Asia, America's interest in West Asia is taken by its military bases in Egypt and in Qatar. And you come to Kenya, how does the US monitor the Horn of Africa? They have bases here in Kenya. Okay. So basically, America will look at its interest in the global arena and how easy they can access those ones, and therefore go out and use those countries to make sure that they are taking root. As long as American interests and the European interests are to be taken care of in the globe, Africa will have very little voice to present itself as one global unit. Will continue to be partitioned, will continue to be looked at differently. And worst of all is that most of our leaders, they get to their power through Western assistance. So their allegiance and their loyalty goes back to those people. They will surrender to them. They will give them what they want for the very reason to keep themselves. So as long as that is the system that works globally, Africa has a long way. But we are saying there is hope. We see what is happening in Burkina Faso.
Yeah, but we know hope
that is hope.
A bad strategy in management.
It is a bad strategy, but it is the first step towards achieving any objective.
Very good. President William Ruto has been at the forefront, calling for reforms in the global financial architecture so that it can include more voices from Africa. Africa is the second largest continent in the world. It also has the second biggest population in the world, and their contribution to the global economy is also growing very fast. Is the world listening?
The world will not listen. What the president was trying, because he no longer does, I mean, that was about 2-3 years ago, is very ambitious. It will not work because there is something in international relations, we study something called, there are countries which are at the center and others at the periphery. So now, you can't come suddenly, you are a president of some, in some country in Africa, then you want to come and say, we want our space, we want to change the financing architecture, we are demanding ABCD, you are promised a lot of money for PR on climate change. We have been this thing together with you. They don't, so every year you have to keep on, because they are like, okay, excuse me, we want it's about our interest, okay? It's about our interest. Absolutely. You are there to help us achieve our interest. We are not here to listen to you. And it's a very simple thing. Which country are you? What is your economy base? I was going through the issues of economy all the way from the US, coming to China, Germany, Japan, and all that, going all the way down. These are the big boys. They control the group. They control the world. Now, how do they make sure you don't come together? Now, when you talk about Burkina, which is a very good example, but how much can you do as one country? How much can you go? If you want to come, look, listen, there was an issue of remember the Pan-African issue of having one railway, having one, just in Africa. They can't allow it. They cannot fund it. Because if you want to have a means of traversing this Africa all by yourselves, having your own payment system, you remember PAPS and all that, there is a way. You have to be better. I'm not saying it's not possible, no. But you have to be better organized. Not just talking and trying to do it, because guys will come, they make visits to your capital, okay? They come and give you some stuff and show you are better than the other person. Why is it that when people come to visit, all these presidents from China, from US, they don't come to other countries? They don't go to Addis Ababa and say they want to meet the African Union guys. They go to specific countries and they make specific deals. And they make you know, look here, Kenya, you are bigger. In South Africa, you are the big boy. You go to South Africa, you are the head of SADC. They go to Nigeria, you are the guys of ECOWAS. They go to Egypt and they fly back. If they want to twist a bit, they can jump into Zambia, a bit, and Angola, just where they have interest.
For optics.
For optics, where they have interest. And maybe Rwanda to show you, you are a guy there, so you can be checking on Kenya, all the kinds of things. For me, and it's good also to talk like people who have some, of course you say the hope is a very bad breakfast. It's a very good breakfast, very, very bad for supper. But what can we do therefore? O'Brien, if you ask me, because I've had a lot of, especially in this area, also of trade and investment. The question is, are we willing as Africa to work as one bloc? Is it possible? Is it possible the way we try to do it, which we achieved, by the way, getting together ASCFTA, so that EAC, COMESA, SADC, North Africa, can be able to begin talking in one language. That is first steps, where we should come together and begin, not just politically, we can even begin economically. Now, South Africa, Ethiopia, and which other country in BRICS and Ethiopia have been picked to be in BRICS. You see, tells you we recognize the economy. Why not African Union is a member of BRICS?
And by the way, why is Kenya not a member of BRICS?
Thank you very much. The lack of a clear foreign policy.
That is a question I'm always asking myself.
A good question. Lack of a clear policy of how to engage with the world.
Because if we have Kenya there, then it's going to complete the word BRIC.
Now listen. Why is Kenya not there? It's because of two things. One, we are too careful, or lack of it, or careless. Because we don't have a clear thing of engagement with the world. Okay? If we know what we want, we know what to do or what not to do. If we know, but the question, do we know? Because you first of all must know who is Kenya, where are we staged. Do
you think we know?
That's a question I want to answer. The question is we don't know. If we knew, we would have taken some stand. Listen here, when you take Ethiopia, you leave Kenya here. You take South Africa, well, South Africa, SADC and all that, you know, like a regional,
yeah, I mean, it's the most developed country.
A regional leader, right? Now, when Ethiopia goes ahead, leaves Kenya here, that is a very big diplomatically. It's a big message. Remember, Ethiopia has been trying to run ahead of Kenya in terms of a lot of things anyway, economically, GDP, and all those kind of things. Then you move to Egypt, the only country now where Kenya would have been, Ethiopia is, because now going to North Africa, Egypt is in BRIC. Going to Nigeria, to Western Africa rather. Maybe what is missing there is either Ghana or Nigeria. Now already, Kenya, because of our indecisiveness, we are not sure what to do with this world. That is why we go to America, we do some deals, okay? But the deals that we do, somehow they don't even work. When you go to try to do the Nairobi-Mombasa Expressway, I don't know what happens, whether it's inflation of the rates of the cost becomes too much, it is abandoned. Then we jump to China, and we rattle US very badly. They are like, you are jumping. Now, this jumping is not so good. You can say that you are unaligned and you can do business with anybody, but at the end of the day, you have to decide what you want, because you cannot rule forever. In an administration, decide who do you want, how do you want to work with. Because when it becomes very openly that you are this side and you are that side, then you're not for any.
Dr. Mbai, from where you stand, I mean, when you look at the BRICS economy, it represents about 40% of the global economy.
Yes.
It's going to grow.
Yeah.
It is expected that by the year 2030, it will represent about 50%.
Yes.
Is BRICS good for Kenya?
That's a very good question. Now, the question is this. What does BRICS stand for? BRICS, if you look at it, it completely speaks everything opposite of the Western Alliance. And by Western Alliance, I mean US, which is the leader of that alliance. Literally. That's why you don't see...
The US and EU.
Yes, that's why you don't see... That's why there is... EU in general, I mean UK and the EU. And that is the Western, the traditional powerhouses since the inception of the world or something, of the whole global thing. Now, BRICS stands for power towards Asia, power leaning towards Asia, very powerfully. Now, it's a big threat. Actually, all the wars the US president have is towards China. All the trade wars he has, all the tariffs, all the issues he has.
And he's losing that war.
Yes, because let me tell you, and let me just be very frank here, you cannot fight a war, you cannot fight an idea whose time has come. One, you can't fight technology. Because you can't box technology into a corner and say, please don't live here, so that you do not become a threat. Now, what has happened to US and the UK and the European Union? They have been traditional, but unfortunately, they modernized, that is the word, innovation, towards how to continue being global leaders. But what China did, and the Asian countries, they have been able to consistently continue. And what is the trick? Innovation, manufacturing. That is what has made China to be almost there. I think the GDP for US, about that trillion US dollars, China is almost half, more than half, because it's
almost 20.
19, almost 20.
Almost 20 trillion
so
US
I can
dollars.
tell you, in another 10 years, in another 10, if not about 5 to 10 years, China will be very hard because of innovation. Of course, there's a mockery to that. And this is the biggest problem now. Why US is scared? Remember, US came to this world and told us, we are the fathers of how worlds are going to be run.
Yeah.
We are the fathers of democracy. Oh, they are lecturing everybody around here and the whole world, and also human rights. We want to protect human rights. We don't want people, to be harassed, to be killed. We don't want these, one-man shows in countries. But unfortunately, China, actually, they have reviewed their constitution. Right now, the president of China can go on for life. They have removed.
And it is working for them.
Yes, it's working. Now, look, that is serious. Because are we saying the whole thing that which has been brought down our throats by America is wrong? Is bad for the economy? Because if everybody is looking to China, Asia, and all these other countries, what is happening? Now, the only problem is, you ask a question, is it good for Kenya? Now, I would say one thing. Why is it that the deals Kenya is doing with America are not working? And somehow, let me use the word somehow, when you go get a Chinese to come and do Thika Highway, we see it within a record time. Why is it? Those are the questions to ask ourselves.
There is SGR there.
There is SGR there. Now, never mind that, unfortunately, a lot of things other happen. That one we have to come into, because there is a perception, Chris, that once we have these Chinese contracts, a lot of sometimes they are not very clean. They are inflated because these guys also, they are worse than Africans. They know how to do kickbacks and all that. It's a perception that around here, well, they deliver, but maybe at a higher cost than the others. That's another story altogether. Therefore, if that is where we want to go, O'Brien, the question is, where are we ready to associate? That's why Ethiopia was picked. Because Kenya is not sure whether they want to be in BRICS or they want to follow US. Those are the issues that we need to think ahead. Otherwise, a small mistake. You think that, look at Ethiopia, very aggressive. I'm sure by now, they could be a few steps ahead on GDP, if I'm not wrong.
The Ethiopian economy is larger than Kenya.
It's larger than Kenya. And it has been
growing fast.
Slowly just there, and they are very aggressive on many things. Because, in short, because of our indecisiveness, we don't know whether we are following US and EU. We don't know whether we are following the East and all that. We are dragging behind, and Ethiopia is going to overtake us. It's a very bad disaster. Knowing all the disadvantages Ethiopia has, and here we are, because of lack of decisiveness. In the issues of global engagement, you have to have a stand. You have to have a policy.
And what pains me the most is the fact that, Addis Ababa is grabbing the diplomatic hub from Nairobi. When you look at the Bola International Airport, 5 times bigger than JKIA.
There's no
Look at what they are developing. The new airport with a capacity of 100 million people.
Yes.
We are still talking about JKIA, which was constructed back in 1978.
Many years,
We are still doing a lot of patch-ups. I want to hear this, Chris, from you. When you look at Kenya, we are highly aligned and we lean towards the West. But when China displayed its military capabilities about 15 days ago, it was clear where the military powers of the world is going to be in the next 10, 15 years.
Yes.
Is Kenya aligning itself to head to that direction?
There'll be many items to consider where Kenya needs to align itself to. Number one are security guarantees. Number one item here, we are very much aligned to the West. We are trapped into Western ways of life. Financial system, SWIFT system is theirs, internet is theirs. They want to control our finances, want to control our trade, our politics, and all that, even to include our knowledge. They want to control all that. Before we can release ourselves from this entanglement, we need to find an alternative. And China offers a very good alternative. If you look at the amount of business or the volume of business coming to Kenya, from Kenya to China, is big and it's really growing. The other day Kenya was being asked, where are you, West or East? I think we ought to have come very, very clear that, yes, we are still trying to determine our path, but our roots are still in the West. So it's going to take us a lot of time as a Kenyan country, but in the long run, we ought to find where is trade coming to us, what is the biggest benefit to us, and if we go that direction, what is the net effect in terms of how we run our country. And that, from where I'm seated, is best we go this other direction.
When you saw the military power display in Beijing,
yes,
what crossed your mind?
What crossed my mind was obvious. If you want to protect your interest in the globe, you must establish your military strength and establish that emphatically. And China did that. To me, when I sit down as an analyst, military analyst, as a security analyst, I'm telling myself that China has spoken to the world, telling the world that military, we are capable of giving you guarantees. So this is now the time you relook at the relationship with the West, leave that direction, come direction. Once you come to us, we will protect you. And they are doing that so emphatically. The kind of robots I saw there, the kind of new 21st century technology I saw in that military display was in another world. The kind of missiles, hypersonic and intercontinental ballistic missiles, what I saw that particular day told me China is ready to take over the leadership of this world, and they can protect the leadership with the military strength that they have. Outside of that, in terms of intelligence collection, they have the best intelligence system in this world. Every Chinese in this world reports back to the Homeland Security what they have seen. You need intelligence to run your military strength.
Are they better off than CIA and Mossad?
If you, in terms of resources, CIA is way up.
Very resourced.
Very well resourced. If you come to Mossad, technologically, Mossad is way ahead. If they want to take the citizen, they will kill to get the citizen. Americans, they will negotiate forever to get a citizen. China, what do they come with? Technology. And they are coercing the African countries day by day with equal partnership approach to any global issue. And that's what we want. We want people bullying us, telling us this is the way you have to go forcefully. No.
Peter Mbai, as we wind up this conversation, what is your final input?
I think I have no problem per se with what Chris is saying about this issue about leaning too much or hearted. I would want to look at it cautiously. I've been to China. I've led several delegations there. We have an organization that partners with Africa and the rest of the world, including China, US, and other places. Of course, US and AU, it's an open democracy. Things look straightforward. Now, China is okay, good, and these guys, they went ahead on issues I mentioned, innovation and manufacturing.
Yep.
Now, the only problem is it's a closed system. For information, there's nothing like all these social things we use here.
Yeah.
You land in China, they are the inventors of TikTok. They don't use TikTok. The Google, it doesn't work there. It's a very interesting economy. So, what is it should we do? Can we focus back home, brain, and do two things? One, focus on food security and manufacturing. That is the way to go.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for finding time to swing by so that we can discuss these issues. Your time is highly appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Very good. I mean, there's a team of experts, Peter Mbai, a leadership and governance expert, as well as Chris Otieno, a security and military expert, joining us this morning to discuss these issues. O'Brien Kimani is my name. We've been here for the last 2 hours. Kurunzi is coming up next with Sheila Kayaro. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Specialist stores. Dedicated cooks, whether professional or amateur, can find anything they need here. The most popular purchase is the Japanese kitchen knife, or hocho.
2 sentokus, which is the traditional knife in Japan, and the knives especially, I know that the craftsmanship is quite high.
This store has been in business for 100 years. It has an eye-catching